Last question, Karen DeYoung. Where's Karen? There she is.
Thank you. Just to belabor the point on that question, Mr. President, your people have said that the framework agreement, that what's in it stands, that they are not renegotiable points, although the implementation of them can be renegotiated in some way. And I wonder how, within that framework that's already been agreed, how we can come up with something that satisfies the kinds of concerns that he raised. No inspection of military sites, immediate lifting of all sanctions the day that the thing is signed. And also on Cuba, I wanted to ask, as you discussed the state sponsor of terrorism list with President Castro, the Cubans have raised some issues about the 45-day waiting period. I wondered if that came up. I know that your government is eager, assuming that the recommendation is approved, is to remove it and is approved by you, that we move ahead quickly with embassies. The Cubans have raised concerns about that 45 days and how something could go wrong in those 45 days, and it really doesn't give them access to the kinds of things they think they can have once if and when they're removed from the list. Did that come up, and is it your belief that once they're removed from the list, then there is no impediment to go ahead with opening embassies, once you approve their removal from the list?
Okay. I'll make one last run at Iran here. There is a political framework, the outlines of which were established between Iran and the P5+1. In some cases, there was great specificity around, for example, the reductions that need to take place in the number of centrifuges in Natanz, or the conversion of Fordow into a facility that does not permit the potential production of weapons-grade uranium. And in other cases, there was language of intent, but the details matter. And how those details are interpreted are going to be subject to negotiation. So it's not accurate to suggest that, and I don't think my team has ever suggested that somehow everything's all done and it's just a matter of writing it up. This is a situation in which we have a framework that is, if implemented, powerful and will achieve our goal of making sure that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. But the details make a big difference, how they're structured. And I guarantee you there will be some tough negotiations around that. And that's what I said the first day when we announced that we had an agreement. And that's what we've continued to say. So there's really no contradiction here. And keep in mind that when we started this process off, even with the interim agreement, when we signed the JPOA way back at the beginning of this whole thing, there was a similar back and forth in terms of interpretation of how this was going to be implemented. And, you know, the Iranians were saying that's not true, and we were saying this. But once we actually got through the negotiations, it turned out that we had something that was substantial, that was subject to review by everybody involved, and that has proven to be highly effective, even by the assessments of critics of the policy like the Israelis. They've said, yeah, this actually has worked. Iran's abided by the agreement. In fact, now they're suggesting, why don't we just stay here? It's worked so well, despite the fact that they had made almost the precise same argument they're making now about the final deal. But, you know, consistency is the hobgoblin of narrow minds.